You feel it, don't you? That stirring deep inside, that restless urgency telling you there's more for you to do, more for you to be. You've spent enough time sitting on the sidelines, enough time watching others make moves while you debate your own potential. I've seen it happen over and over. Those who finally break free from their limitations all share one trait. They shift their attention away from obsessing over the end goal and instead pour themselves into the daily battle. Right now, you're standing on the edge of that same transformation. Today, you're going to abandon your fixation on results and become the person who can truly achieve anything. Understand this: chasing results can be a trap. When you focus too fiercely on the final outcome, you risk strangling your own momentum. You measure yourself by what hasn't happened yet rather than who you're becoming in the process. Real power is cultivated in the day-to-day grind, in the actions you take, the habits you refine, and the standards you refuse to lower. The result is merely the byproduct, not the purpose. The moment you free yourself from that results-driven mindset, you unleash a different kind of beast, a beast that thrives on discipline, on relentless progress, and on an unshakable internal drive. Never underestimate the draw of the quick fix. People cling to outcomes because they want the trophy, the applause, the external validation. But if your eyes are glued to the scoreboard, you'll miss the real game unfolding on the field. Your own evolution. The world is full of individuals who dream big, yet remain paralyzed by a looming expectation of success. They say, "I must achieve this," or "I'm nothing." Then they collapse under the weight of their own demands. But you, from this moment on, will never let results chain you. You'll define yourself by your capacity to act, day in and day out, long after others have lost interest. I've witnessed firsthand how an obsession with results can suffocate even the most talented people. They start off blazing hot, energy surging through their veins, certain that they're destined for greatness. But as soon as they spot the first sign of resistance or see that the outcome isn't immediate, they falter. They question their worth. They interpret every small setback as a colossal failure. Eventually, that initial fire fizzles, replaced by the bitter taste of disappointment. If you allow yourself to be ruled by outcomes, your drive is built on shifting sand. The foundation collapses the moment things don't go as planned. This is where you change the script. The new you understands that results aren't the reason you act. They're the side effect of ferocious, consistent effort. You will walk, run, or crawl toward your goals, regardless of how distant they might appear, because it's the chase that shapes you, not the finish line. Every day you commit, every hour you invest, every drop of sweat you spill, you're forging the kind of person who can conquer any obstacle. That's your real prize, the evolution of your character, your mindset, your capacity to endure and excel. Pause and listen to your inner voice for a moment. Is it full of self-doubt, whispering that you must see quick results to prove your worth? Or is it steady, reminding you that every step forward is part of your becoming? Most people stop at the doubt. They wait for the world to validate their potential. But waiting has never changed history. The world isn't here to confirm your greatness. It's here to be shaped by it. Shift your focus. Let go of the scoreboard. Let your new mantra be, "I act because it's who I am, not because I'm chasing applause." Think about the greatest achievements humanity has ever known. Masterful artworks, groundbreaking inventions, legends forged in sports arenas. If you dissect their stories, you realize those achievements were the culmination of countless invisible hours of disciplined practice and unwavering resolve. The final product, the painting, the scientific breakthrough, the championship, was just the surface. Underneath lay a person devoted to the craft, committed to the grind, immune to the whims of instant gratification. And that's exactly what you must become, a person who is relentless in the unseen daily battles, who finds meaning in the climb more than the summit. I've seen people who once pinned their identities on a single outcome, be it a promotion, a medal, or some grand success. The moment circumstances robbed them of that outcome, they crumbled. They had no fallback identity, nothing that fueled them once the goal slipped away. It's tragic to watch. That's why you must anchor your identity in the daily execution, not in the trophy. The trophy can be lost or stolen. The internal drive cannot. When you identify as someone who shows up, who executes, who pushes no matter what, you're no longer at the mercy of external events. This is your liberation. Once you commit to the daily discipline, you become free from the pressure that crushes so many. Why? Because you realize that your value doesn't hinge on tomorrow's scoreboard. Your self-worth is tied to your willingness to engage fully right now. And ironically, by focusing on the moment, by pouring yourself entirely into the process, you drastically increase your chances of surpassing that initial goal. It's a paradox. When you cease obsessing over results, the results often come faster, bigger, and stronger than you ever imagined. Ask yourself, why have you been holding back? Is it because you're afraid of not getting what you want? Is it because you doubt your ability to see it through? Or is it because you've been measuring your progress by the final outcome, forgetting to honor the courage it takes to even start? You need to redefine your metrics. If you do the work, truly do it, then you have already succeeded today. That's the measure. Not the applause, not the money, not the recognition. If you can look in the mirror at night and say, I honored my commitment, that's victory. Everything else is a bonus. Most people get so lost in envisioning the end result, a perfect life, a dream career, a certain bank balance, that they fail to realize all that stands between them, and that vision is daily disciplined action. Your path from now on is to show up fiercely in each moment, perfecting one detail at a time. Through these moments, these small, purposeful actions, you eventually craft a masterpiece, not because you fixated on the big picture, but because you infused excellence into every single brushstroke. Don't mistake this philosophy for lacking ambition. Ambition still burns in your heart. The difference is you're not a slave to it. You're the master of it. You wield ambition like a sword, but you sharpen that sword in the quiet hours when no one's watching. The battle you fight is not for a final scoreboard reading. It's for mastery of self. Remember, the scoreboard can lie. Sometimes you do everything right and still lose, or everything wrong and somehow win. But the truth of who you are, of what you consistently give, never lies. I've heard it from countless voices, but I need that result. I need that confirmation that I'm good enough. Let me tell you something. External confirmation is fleeting. It's a drug that keeps you chasing bigger hits. True fulfillment comes from knowing that your standard of effort never wavers, that you give your all whether the world's watching or not. When you become that kind of person, outcomes bow to your consistency. You don't bow to them. Think about the times you've started strong but fizzled out when the results didn't show up fast enough. It's a common story. The diet that ends 2 weeks in because the scale hasn't dropped the way you hoped. The business idea abandoned because the profits didn't roll in immediately. The novel you stopped writing because no one was there to cheer you on. This is what happens when results occupy the center of your universe. The moment they aren't promising, your motivation collapses. But not anymore. You will push forward, results or not, because that's who you are now. Your unwavering commitment to the process is what makes you unstoppable. While others are chasing quick wins, you're busy building an unbreakable foundation. The daily effort becomes second nature. You don't question it. You don't need fanfare. You don't even need the guarantee of success because the act of striving is already your reward. Trust me, the day you internalize this is the day your confidence becomes unshakable. You'll find a peace that few ever touch. Let's talk about fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of wasted time. That fear breeds an obsession with results. If we fail to achieve them, then all was in vain. But is that really true? If every day you grew stronger, more skilled, more disciplined, was anything wasted? You have to redefine waste. The only wasted effort is the one not taken. Every attempt, every disciplined hour sculpts you. That's worth more than any short-lived victory. I've seen it. When you chase perfection in the final output, you often forget to perfect the system that gets you there. You focus on the shiny trophy instead of the relentless drilling, the mundane repetition, the incremental improvements. It's in those unglamorous trenches that the real magic happens. Anybody can celebrate a win, but only a warrior invests wholeheartedly in the quiet slog that builds the platform for that win. You're that warrior. Ask yourself, what does my day look like if I let go of the outcome and pour my energy into the process? Maybe you'd wake up earlier to fit in the extra set of reps or the extra page of writing. Maybe you'd stop worrying about how many people are noticing your work and simply create with pure intensity. Maybe you'd breathe easier, knowing you're not racing a timer to prove yourself. This is the shift that changes everything. Your daily schedule becomes your kingdom. Your rituals become your loyal subjects. The results are mere visitors. They come and go, but your kingdom stands firm. You might be thinking, but I need a clear target to shoot for. Yes, having a direction is essential. Goals can guide you, but the difference is this. You hold those goals lightly. You aim at them, sure, but you don't hinge your self-worth on hitting the bullseye immediately. Instead, you refine your shooting technique day after day. If you miss today, you adjust. If you hit tomorrow, great. Then you set a harder target. The goal is a reference point, not your identity. I remember a friend who desperately wanted to lose weight. She focused entirely on the number she wanted to see on the scale. Every morning, that number dictated her mood. If it went down, she felt victorious. If it went up or stalled, she spiraled into despair. Eventually, she burnt out. Then one day, she decided to focus on daily habits, nutritious meals, consistent workouts, better sleep. Over time, the weight naturally dropped, but by then, that wasn't her sole concern. She had become someone who lives a healthy lifestyle. The weight was just a side effect. That's the power of releasing results and honoring the process. The same principle applies to any ambition, starting a business, mastering a skill, forging deeper relationships. If you chase the result, profit, accolades, or praise, you're at the mercy of forces beyond your control. But if you chase consistent action, if you chase refinement of your craft, you become the variable that drives success. In a world that obsesses over outcomes, you'll stand out as someone who focuses on becoming. And that's what truly sets you apart. You might question, if I'm not motivated by results, what pushes me? Let me answer. The vision of the person you are forging. The excitement of crafting yourself day by day, forging discipline, strength, resilience. There's a thrill in knowing you can weather any storm because your roots run deep. External achievements might come and go, but your internal transformation stays with you forever. That's what pushes you, the unstoppable sense of pride in who you're becoming. This mindset shift doesn't mean ignoring metrics or feedback altogether. Numbers, milestones, and critiques can inform you, guide you, show you where to adjust, but they don't define you. They don't hold power over your commitment. If you see progress, you keep going. If you see a plateau, you keep going. The difference is that your dedication to the craft remains constant, uncorrupted by the ups and downs of the external scoreboard. Often we're taught to visualize the end result. Envision that dream house, that perfect body, that moment in the spotlight. There's value in having a clear picture, but it can turn toxic if it becomes your sole source of drive. Learn to love the grit, love the late nights of refinement, love the sweat that beads on your brow when no one else is around to applaud. Love the solitude that fosters mastery. When you love these things, results become inevitable. I've experienced the difference personally. There was a time I pinned my identity on hitting a certain milestone. Every action revolved around that one number. If I fell short, my confidence shattered. When I eventually hit the milestone, the elation lasted a moment. Then came the emptiness. Because I'd neglected the daily discipline that would sustain me beyond that peak. It was only when I shifted to a process-driven approach that my growth became permanent, and strangely enough, much more exponential. So how do you make this shift practical? Start with your daily routine. Structure it so that every day you're performing the tasks that align with your vision, regardless of how far off that vision might be. Track your habits, not the end result. Did you write your daily page? Did you show up for training? Did you make those calls? That's your scoreboard now. Each check mark is a small victory, and enough small victories stacked together create unstoppable momentum. It's crucial to guard your mindset. When people around you ask, how much have you accomplished? What's your result so far? You'll smile and say, I'm focused on my craft. They might look confused. Most people do. They expect you to define yourself by measurable outcomes. But while they ride the roller coaster of quick highs and crushing lows, you'll be steadily climbing, day after day, forging your path without the drama. That confusion on their part is actually your advantage. There's a certain freedom in not chasing the applause. You stop shaping your actions to please the crowd. You stop comparing your progress to someone else's highlight reel. You become so absorbed in your daily discipline that outside noise fades. That is liberation. And ironically, that's also when recognition tends to come, because people can't ignore real mastery and relentless consistency. But by then, you don't need their validation. You've already built your fortress from the inside out. Your obstacles, yes, they're still there. This mindset doesn't magically remove challenges, but it does reshape how you see them. Instead of viewing a setback as a blow to your outcome, you see it as another chance to refine your practice. Did you fail a rep in the gym? Perfect. Now you know your boundary and you can work systematically to raise it. Did your business pitch fall flat? Great. Improve your presentation, tighten your message, go again. Each challenge is a training ground, not a verdict on your future. Think of your life as an ongoing experiment. Each day, you're testing new angles, adjusting your methods, and collecting data on what works. The only true failure is quitting the experiment altogether, dismantling your lab because the results weren't immediate. But if you persist, if you adapt, you're always moving forward, always getting sharper. It's this approach that births the extraordinary from the ordinary. It's how you stop being a dreamer and start being a doer. Let's talk about impatience, one of the biggest enemies of discipline. We live in a world that celebrates instant gratification. Everyone wants success to be quick, easy, and guaranteed. But mastery never is. It's slow, tedious, sometimes painfully incremental. Impatience will tempt you to skip steps, to look for shortcuts, to revert to obsessing over how far you are from the finish line. Resist that temptation. Impatience blinds you to the joy of steady progress. Patience, on the other hand, is the ally of the unstoppable. I've seen overnight successes up close. Usually they're 10-year grinds that the public only notices at the last moment. The founders who spent years building their product, the athlete who began training at 5 in the morning for a decade, the writer who faced years of rejection before the breakout hit. Society loves to gloss over their process, focusing only on their spectacular result. But that result was never the driver. It was the byproduct of unwavering daily commitment. You must be that committed, willing to put in the lonely years if that's what it takes. Here's a sobering truth. You may never reach the exact vision you have in your head. But what if, in the pursuit of that vision, you become someone infinitely more capable, more compassionate, more resilient than you ever imagined? That alone is worth every drop of sweat. And often life surprises you with outcomes even greater than the one you initially chased. So remain open, keep evolving, and let the world catch up to your relentless pace. The concept of enough will also shift. When you're result-obsessed, you never feel enough until you've hit that magic number or perfect scenario. But when you're process-driven, you realize that giving your best each day is enough because it's everything you can control. And that sense of daily fulfillment, knowing you honored your potential with action, is priceless. Others might chase illusions of arrival, but you'll find contentment in daily excellence. Careful though, process-driven doesn't mean you settle for mediocrity. It means the opposite. You pursue each step with razor-sharp focus, constantly asking, how can I improve? You refuse to coast, because coasting is a betrayal of the discipline you've built. It's not about complacency, it's about relentless refinement. Each day, one more rep, one more insight, one more push beyond yesterday's limits. This is how you truly become someone who can achieve anything. Let me share something I've witnessed. People who sustain top performance over years have a secret. They never let themselves be defined by a single accolade or a single failure. They see each season, each project, each performance as part of a continuum. They show up the next day as if they have something to learn, something to prove to themselves. That hunger never dies because it's not fueled by a single result. It's fueled by the belief that there's always a higher level to reach, a deeper mastery to unlock. When critics come, and they will, because critics feast on those who dare big, your process-driven mindset shields you. If someone mocks your lack of immediate results, you stay unmoved because you know you're in this for the long haul. If they applaud you, you don't get drunk on praise either because tomorrow there's more work to do. Critics live for drama, for emotional volatility. You give them none because your eyes are on the daily execution, not the opinions swirling around you. A practical exercise to cement this mindset. Each night, list 3 to 5 ways you lived out your discipline that day. Did you write for an hour uninterrupted? Did you handle a difficult conversation calmly? Did you maintain your workout routine despite fatigue? Celebrate those process victories. Let them kindle your inner fire. Over time, you'll accumulate a tapestry of these victories that becomes far more meaningful than any fleeting milestone. This doesn't mean goals are useless. Set goals, use them for direction, but place your identity and your worth in the hands of your consistent actions. If you ever find yourself saying, "I'm nothing without reaching that goal," pause. Remind yourself, "I'm everything when I show up for my process." The goal is simply a checkpoint. This psychological shift might be subtle in words, but it's profound in impact. I recall a high performer telling me, "If you strip away all my successes, I'd still be the same person who can build them again." That's the essence right there. That confidence stems from a life spent honing the craft, not chasing the trophy. If you gave them a fresh start, they'd repeat the same daily disciplines and eventually produce new successes. Imagine having that unshakable self-belief. You can by fully immersing yourself in the process day after day. Yes, it's demanding. The discipline of focusing on the process can feel lonely and unglamorous. But think about it. Do you want glamour or lasting power? Glamour fades, but real power, the power to shape your destiny, stays. When you hold process above outcomes, you're building a fire that doesn't die when the applause stops. It keeps burning through setbacks, through plateaus, through storms of doubt, because it's fed by something deeper than external success. Let me be crystal clear. You can truly achieve anything if you embrace the journey fully, because achieving anything isn't about a single stroke of brilliance. It's about orchestrating thousands of small actions in harmony. It's about being the person who shows up at dawn, the person who corrects mistakes without blaming the world, the person who's patient when results delay, and the person who never stops learning. You do that, and watch how the so-called impossible starts bending in your favor. Your commitment will be tested. Maybe you'll face unexpected financial strain, personal crises, or a wave of self-doubt that hits you out of nowhere. But if you're process-driven, you remain standing. Why? Because when storms come, you still show up for the routine. You still practice, train, work, refine. You might slow down, you might pivot strategies, but you don't collapse. That resilience is only possible when the result isn't your God. The process is. Look at the greatest icons in any field. Michael Jordan didn't become legendary just by wanting to win championships. He became legendary because he attacked every practice like it was the final game. Picasso didn't create timeless art by fixating on becoming famous. He was consumed by the act of painting itself, relentlessly experimenting. Their greatness sprouted from obsession with craft, not with the eventual medals or money. They found joy and purpose in the act of doing. Now, some people might call this approach boring. They crave the flashy highlights, the moment of triumph. But a champion's life is built in the shadows, in the invisible hours of labor. If that's boring, then be proud to be boring, because that unsexy dedication to the process is the exact reason you'll stand where others never will. When the lights finally shine on you, you won't be starstruck. You'll be ready. Let's tackle a common question. How do I stay motivated if I'm not chasing an end result? Motivation can wax and wane, but that's irrelevant if you have discipline. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the engine. You don't need to feel hyped every day. You just need to show up. And ironically, showing up consistently breeds its own kind of motivation, a quieter, steadier force. It's the satisfaction of seeing yourself grow day by day. Another trap is comparing your process to someone else's final product. You see their highlight reel, their polished success, and think you should be there already. That's an illusion. Everyone's path is different, and you don't see their years of grinding, their heartbreaks, their near misses. Comparison is poison to your process. The only comparison that matters is who you were yesterday versus who you are today. If you're improving, you're winning, no matter how small the increment. I've often told people, if you want to do something remarkable, stop seeking shortcuts. Shortcuts chase a quicker result, but they bypass the mastery you'd gain from the full journey. People who cheat the process might get a taste of success, but they lack the internal infrastructure to sustain it or replicate it. When life tests them, they crumble because they never built the core that comes from hard-earned progress. Listen closely. How you can truly achieve anything is not a trick line. You genuinely become limitless when you anchor into the discipline of the daily grind. Because once you prove to yourself you can set a process and follow it without being derailed by outcomes or emotions, you realize you can repeat that in any domain. Whether it's fitness, business, art, relationships, it's the same principle. Master the process, master the domain. People spend fortunes on courses or mentors hoping to find some secret formula. Yet the universal truth is simpler and more demanding. Commit to consistent effort, refine it, and never tie your self-worth to immediate results. Mentors can guide you, yes, but they can't do the work for you. Tools can help optimize your routine, but they won't fix a mindset addicted to quick wins. The ultimate game changer is your ability to stay locked in on your craft, day after day. Imagine the day when you look back and see how far you've come. You'll realize that the specific achievements were nice, but what truly mattered was the person you became in the process. The grit, the patience, the ingenuity, those traits now define you. And because you own these qualities, any new challenge you face is just another opportunity to apply them. You've evolved beyond mere goal-getting. You've stepped into a state of continuous self-transcendence. Cynics might mock, saying, "So you're telling me to ignore goals entirely?" Not at all. You set them, but you don't worship them. You let them guide your direction, then you bury yourself in the steps that move you forward right now. The cynics won't understand because they rely on external metrics for validation. But watch what happens when they hit a tough stretch and see no tangible progress. They'll falter. You won't. Does this mean you never celebrate milestones? Of course not. Celebrations are moments of gratitude and reflection, but they're not the end point. You don't stop once you hit a milestone. You carry on, even better equipped for what's next. Celebration is a refuel, not a finish line. It reminds you of why you started, but it doesn't become the reason you do it all. The reason is bigger than that. It's the person you're forging day by day. I can't stress enough how liberating it is to detach your worth from results. You stop living on a pendulum that swings between triumph and despair. Instead, you move steadily, forward and upward. People might call you obsessive or wonder why you continue when there's no immediate payoff. Let them wonder. Your consistency will outlast their skepticism. One day they'll ask, "How did you do it?" And you'll say, "I simply showed up every single day, no matter what." Nurture a strong sense of identity. I am someone who executes relentlessly. That's the identity. Not, I am a person who must have X amount of recognition by next month. Your identity is anchored in action, not in outcome. This identity becomes a filter for every decision you make. When you're tempted to skip a workout or sabotage your own effort, you'll remind yourself, that's not who I am. And that self-check keeps you aligned. Don't worry about being perfect. The road of discipline isn't about never messing up. You will slip, you will miss days, you will struggle, but you get back on track without wallowing in guilt or shame, because your focus is on the long game. A single misstep doesn't derail the entire journey unless you allow it to. So embrace imperfection. Just ensure you keep returning to your process stronger than before. One of the most powerful aspects of a process-driven life is its natural resilience against burnout. When you're fixated on a colossal outcome, you might push yourself to extremes, ignoring health or balance until you crash. But when each day's work is your reward, you tend to pace yourself smarter. You realize that longevity matters, so you prioritize rest and mental recharge. This balanced approach ensures you remain unstoppable for the long haul. People often ask, what's the secret to staying consistent? The simplest answer, make consistency your identity. You decide that no matter what happens today, highs, lows, chaos, you will honor the routine you've set. You make it non-negotiable. That doesn't mean you never adapt or skip a day if it's truly necessary, but it means those instances are rare exceptions, not your go-to excuse. Over time, consistency morphs from a struggle to a default setting. Expect breakthroughs to happen unexpectedly. You'll be grinding away day after day, seeing small incremental gains that barely register. Then one day something clicks. You surpass a personal best, you have an insight that revolutionizes your approach, or someone influential recognizes your work. But these breakthroughs won't feel like miracles. They'll feel like a natural evolution of your process. You earned them without needing to chase them frantically. I've observed that the best in any field display a kind of calm confidence. They're not boasting about what they'll achieve next. They're simply working. While others get caught up in predictions and hype, they quietly refine their skill. That quiet, almost meditative approach is a hallmark of someone who has learned to love the path more than the destination. You too can embody that calm confidence by immersing yourself in the day-to-day, unshackled by the illusions of quick wins. A word on adversity. When life blindsides you, a personal loss, a financial crisis, an injury, you might not hit the same volume of work each day. But if you've ingrained the identity of someone who does what they can, no matter the conditions, you'll adapt. You'll scale your process to match your temporary capacity, but you won't abandon it. Over time, you recover, and your discipline remains intact. That is true mental toughness. Reflect on your current routines. Are they consistent with the identity of a person who invests in the process, or are they dictated by moods, fleeting impulses, or shallow motivations? Be honest. If you're skipping vital steps because it doesn't matter right now, you're letting outcome-based thinking drive you. You're telling yourself you only need to work hard when the stakes are high or when results are imminent. That's the old way of thinking, the way that leads to inconsistency. Let it go. Remember, never focus on results doesn't mean you don't desire them. It means you don't let the desire overshadow the journey. You keep the ambition alive in your heart, but your mind is set on action. You find fulfillment in the daily tasks that others find tedious. You see each practice session, each research hour, each conversation as an essential piece of your growth, not as a stepping stone to something else. The stepping stone is the reward. You will have moments of doubt. This is normal. In those moments, anchor back to your core reason for starting. Was it to prove something to the world, or to become something more within yourself? If your reason is the latter, you'll find the strength to continue without external validation. Let that reason be personal, deep, and unwavering. Guard it. It's the spark that keeps the engine running. Sometimes the biggest challenge is internal. Your mind might start spinning stories about how you're behind schedule or not as far along as you should be. These are illusions rooted in outcome obsession. Silence that noise by reaffirming that every bit of progress, no matter how modest, is a step in the right direction. You're not competing on someone else's timeline. You're crafting your own destiny, one day at a time. That's all that matters. If you want to supercharge your process, surround yourself with others who value the same. Find a community or a mentor who emphasizes discipline over superficial wins. Their energy will amplify yours, and you'll do the same for them. But be wary of groups that only celebrate big results and ignore the quiet hustle. Such environments breed impatience and can sabotage your steady ascent. Choose carefully who you let influence your mindset. It's okay to reevaluate and pivot your goals if you find they no longer align with your deeper calling. That's not quitting, that's evolution. Process-driven individuals are flexible. They understand that life unfolds in chapters, and sometimes your direction changes, but your commitment to disciplined action remains the same. Whether you switch from one career path to another or adjust your fitness goals, the principle doesn't change. Show up, do the work, ignore the noise. I've watched people transform their entire lives once they embraced this principle. They went from anxious, results-starved individuals to calm, potent forces of nature. They didn't stop being ambitious. They just channeled that ambition into daily excellence instead of daydreams. Over time, their results often surpassed those who were fixated on achievements alone. The difference? Their success was built on rock-solid habits, not on the shaky ground of wishful thinking. Make no mistake, letting go of results as your main focus doesn't make life easier. If anything, it makes you confront the daily grind head-on, which can be tough. But it also makes you unstoppable, because you don't rely on fleeting bursts of motivation to keep going. You harness discipline like a well-trained horse, powerful, steady, able to carry you across any terrain. And that reliability is what sets you leagues apart. People around you might not understand your transformation. They might say, "Aren't you excited about hitting that milestone?" And you'll respond with a knowing smile. You'll be excited, yes, but not attached, because you know the real gift is in the unrelenting effort you invest every single day. That's the story that needs no external applause, the one that builds a backbone of steel. Let them keep asking. Your consistency will answer for you. Eventually, you'll see the ripple effect. Others will notice your steady climb, your lack of desperation for external praise, and they'll start asking for your secret. That's when you reveal, I fell in love with the process. I stopped focusing on results and started focusing on becoming. You might be surprised how many people want to follow suit. In a world addicted to instant gratification, you become an example of real fulfillment, real mastery. Remember, you don't have to be perfect to be on this path. You just have to be committed. Each day, reaffirm, I invest in my actions, not in the outcome. Over time, this becomes your default way of thinking. You'll notice that anxieties linked to, what if it doesn't work out, diminish because the journey itself is already working out. You're growing, learning, and improving. Nobody can take that from you. If you find yourself drifting back to old patterns, gently bring yourself back. Maybe write a short mantra. Never focus on results. Focus on the next step. Put it where you'll see it daily. On your phone, your desk, your journal. Let it remind you of the warrior you're becoming. A warrior who thrives on discipline, not drama. Each time you see it, breathe in and reaffirm your commitment to the daily grind that shapes legends. One powerful visualization. Imagine your desired outcome in the far distance, shrouded in mist. Instead of straining to see it, you lower your gaze to the path right beneath your feet. You focus on placing each footstep with intention and strength. That's what your day should feel like. The outcome is there, guiding your direction, but you're too busy perfecting your steps to obsess over it. Step after step, you carve your own path. Some will argue, if I'm not fixated on the result, I might lose my edge. But it's actually the reverse. Letting go of outcome-based anxiety frees up mental energy to push yourself harder. You're no longer paralyzed by the fear of failure. You see each action as a chance to refine. That kind of fearless effort is what creates breakthroughs. Your edge becomes sharper because you're not dulling it with worry about things you can't control. Let's be real. It's not glamorous to praise the mundane. People don't rush to applaud the person who quietly does their drills day after day. They'd rather celebrate the final performance. But guess what? Without the drills, there is no performance. So you must become your own cheerleader for the daily grind. Celebrate internally each time you honor your schedule, each time you push a little further. That internal celebration is the fuel that keeps your fire burning. Never forget that you're playing the long game. Immediate results are often shallow. True mastery, true transformation takes time. It's layered, intricate, and tested by adversity. If you can find beauty in that process, you've already won. Most people abandon their pursuits the moment it gets too real, too slow, too unglamorous. You won't. You'll persevere, calmly stacking small wins, patiently waiting for them to build into something extraordinary. You'll discover that by detaching from results, you actually free yourself to dream bigger. Because you're not strangling your dream with desperation. You're nurturing it with consistent nourishment. Each day's effort is like watering the seed. You don't yank it out of the ground to see if it's growing. You trust the process. And so that seed grows into something mighty. Something that eventually stands tall and strong, visible to everyone. But its roots, hidden beneath the surface, were formed by your unwavering routine. Eventually, the way you speak will change. Instead of saying, I want to achieve X, you'll say, I'm committed to doing Y every day. People might find that strange at first, but they'll sense your calm assurance. They'll notice you're not anxiously waiting for a yes or no from the world. You're simply living your vow day in and day out. That quiet confidence speaks volumes. Keep in mind that every major success story is a process story. The final chapter might read like a triumphant tale, but the build-up chapters reveal a relentless focus on daily mastery. Read the biographies of icons and you'll see the same pattern repeated. So if you want to join their ranks, you must adopt their practices. The formula is old, but always effective. Show up, put in the work, trust the process, repeat. Let everyone else cling to quick fixes while you sculpt your legacy in real time. If doubts creep in, remind yourself there's no guarantee in life, period. Even if you obsess over outcomes, you might fail. So why not choose the path that nourishes your spirit, the path of consistent effort and learning? If you fail there, you fail forward. armed with new skills, new insights, and a stronger core. And if you succeed, you do so rooted in substance, not in fleeting hype. That's the kind of success that endures. You may encounter moments when the result is actually within reach. The finish line is visible, and excitement surges. That's okay. Enjoy the excitement, but remember that crossing one line is just setting you up for the next journey. Don't let your efforts evaporate the day after you achieve something monumental. The process continues. You simply aim for a new horizon. That's how you keep evolving instead of stagnating post-victory. When you fully embrace this, a curious sense of calm determination settles in. You don't get overly rattled by bad days because you know they're part of the cycle. You don't inflate your ego on good days because tomorrow is another chance to prove yourself. Each sunrise marks a fresh opportunity to refine. This cycle, day after day, becomes the heartbeat of your life, a steady, unyielding pulse that drives you forward. I've spoken to people who said their greatest regret was tying their identity to a single outcome. Once they got it, or didn't, they felt adrift. Don't let that be you. Anchor your identity in the discipline. Then no matter where life takes you, you carry that anchor. It's the one thing nobody can strip away. Even if your circumstances change, your daily approach remains. That's true stability in a world that's always shifting. You might ask, when do I get to see results? The truth? You'll see them precisely when you stop being obsessed with seeing them. It's a paradox, but a powerful one. Results are like shadows. If you chase them directly, they move away. But if you walk your path with purpose, they follow you naturally. Keep walking, keep your head up, and let those results quietly gather in your wake. In time, this approach bleeds into every aspect of your life. Your relationships, your health, your personal growth. You stop waiting for the world to hand you certainties, and you start building them yourself through steady action. You realize that complaining or wishing doesn't change anything, but a single act of deliberate effort might. And so you act consistently because that's who you are now, someone who shapes reality rather than passively observing it. Don't be surprised if you start finding joy in places you never noticed before. The quieter moments of practice, the subtle improvements in technique, the slight increase in stamina, these micro victories start to light you up. You realize you don't need a fanfare to appreciate your own progress. You've become self-sustaining, fueled by an internal drive that no external factor can diminish. That is real power, the kind that leads to triumph after triumph. Most people might never understand. They'll ask for your results and might seem disappointed when you say you're focusing on the process. Let them be disappointed. You're not living for their approval. You're living to become the unstoppable force you were always meant to be. One day they may see the magnitude of what you've built, or maybe they won't. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you did it, steadily, faithfully, day by day. Now feel the momentum you've gathered throughout this entire script. It's not a fleeting hype, it's a steady burning conviction in your gut. Let it ignite your very next action. Don't make grand announcements. Don't wait for the perfect time. Start now. If you need to train, go train. If you need to create, go create. If you need to study, pick up that book. Let the world see or not see your dedication, but never let them question your heart. This is your moment. You've heard the call to abandon the obsession with outcomes. You know deep down that your real power lies in the ceaseless, disciplined grind day in and day out. So walk away from this moment different than you came in, focused, relentless, and truly alive, because you're about to become someone the world cannot break or distract. Someone who doesn't merely dream, but does. No more waiting for results. You are the result. And if that truth hits home, subscribe now, because this is only the beginning of the force you're becoming. Now rise up and take your next step. No fanfare needed. The process is yours. The future is yours. Go claim it.